Hey Khunkhao.
Hello.
How are you?
Nice. Very good. Thank you.
It's been a pleasure spending the afternoon with you today.
Pleasure.
And it's truly an honor for me to be able to interview a person such as yourself, and especially to expose yourself to my audience who, have truly welcomed every time I mentioned that I was going to bring you on this platform. So thank you.
The honor, the honor is mine, and thank you. Thank you for having me, man.
No problem. So I wanted to start the interview off by talking about an interesting topic. I've seen a lot of your videos, and it's been very, very informative. But the topic about pain is one that really intrigued me, because the topic about pain, you mentioned how discomfort drives us all, and that is the similarity between worms and Albert Einstein. Can you tell me a little bit about some of the pain that you've experienced and that has led you to be in the position that you're in, which is you have published 9 books, as well as you're a famous psychologist and who actually engages in mindfulness practice? Do you mind talking a little bit about that?
All right. Well, first of all, hello everyone. Glad to be, so good to be here with Psych Life show. I also followed your Instagram right after you sent me a message. I checked out your Instagram, and it's such a good IG, such a good account with many thought-provoking posts, and also very smart stuff there. You post very good stuff there. So really glad to be here. Now, if you want to talk about pain, I can talk about that for like a week non-stop, a month non-stop, because I love learning about pain. Or if you like, I'm passionate about pain, which is an interesting start, because passion and pain, as you know, because you already watched my talk, my TED talk, but for the audiences that haven't watched it, right? Passion and pain share the same root, which is passio, right? So passio is Latin, and it means exactly that. It means pain. And man, this is such a profound realization for me, because when I realized that to be passionate about something only means that you have pain inside you about it, like a pain. You feel painful when you engage with it in some way or the other. For example, if you say you're passionate about solving a problem of world hunger, it means that when you hear about or when you learn about world hunger, you feel pain. You're like, what is this going on in the world? How can we have so many people hungry like this? You feel pain, and that drives you to do something about it. As I said also in the talk, or not, I can't remember, but I'll say it here. Discomfort drives everything. I mean life. Of course, discomfort doesn't drive a car, because a car is not life. But if it's life, all lives are driven by discomfort. And so, if you want me to talk about my pain, I'll definitely talk about that. But a bit later, I just want everyone to get familiarized and also learn a bit more about pain. Right?
I appreciate that. What is the biggest difference between someone such as Adolf Hitler and, let's say, an engineer or a teacher? How does pain affect them both differently? Someone like Adolf Hitler, who obviously committed a mass genocide over there in Germany, along with some, a regular school teacher who's doing things to help the upbringing youth. What is the difference between the way they're experiencing pain?
Oh man, that is such a good one. So there's and of course this is not in the talk too. Like, there are 3 levels, right, to handle pain. There are 3 ways to handle pain, and there are also I call them like different levels as well. And I try to study this, and I realized that these 3 ways are the first one is the transference of pain. So when you transfer the pain you feel onto others, right? And then there's and I'll explain later, like in detail, which one is what's the meaning behind which one. But the second one is the transformation of pain. right? That's when you receive pain and then you transform it into something else, which is higher, if you like, or better, right? And then there is this last one, in which I didn't mention in the TED Talk because I didn't have enough time, but it's the transcendence of pain. Transcendence. So you overcome it entirely. You float above it. You're not enslaved to the pain you feel. Now, let's look at the first level. That's the level that Adolf Hitler was at, right? And also me in the past, or me even sometimes in the present. We all, not all of us, I guess, like Dalai Lama probably doesn't have that level of pain, but the transference of pain is when you feel pain, and then you're like, I have to give this pain to someone else, you know? And there's even a research, you can look it up on Google. I can't remember the year or the researcher's name, but they found that when people blame, or when people what do you call that, like for example they got scolded by their boss, and then they go home and then they scold their wife, the stress level become like lower, because you get to transfer that energy, that pain, to someone else, right? But then of course that's why there is such thing as revenge in the world. Hitler was also engaged in revenge. All his life was about that, as far as we're concerned, right? He wanted revenge against people who suppressed German people, privilege, and also those Jews, right, and Jewish people, sorry, and all that. And also, of course, one can say that he just used like Jewish people as scapegoats, right? But we can see, we don't have to dig deep. We can see in his face that he wanted revenge, right? Yeah. And that's transference of pain. You resort to violence, revenge, blaming, all that stuff. You know, those are the first level. You have a question?
Well, and thank you for sharing that. But Hitler, like you said, he used his pain in a negative way, which was the term you used, transference of pain. Sometimes pain can be transitional. Is that the word you use, or transitional? It can be used for good.
Yeah, definitely. That's the second level.
That's the second level.
The second level.
And the third level is
transcendence.
Transcendence.
Yeah. So I these terms, I love things to have this nice sound to it. So I try to use like trans this, trans that. But in the end, before I go to that, should I go on to the second one?
Yeah,
the
sure,
second level. So transformation of pain. The name says a lot already. It means that you receive pain, but you don't cause pain for others. You transform that pain into power. You transform it into a power to become better. Like someone, maybe you Oprah Winfrey, for example. I didn't use her example in my TED Talk, but Oprah Winfrey, she got raped when she was young. Now, the transference of pain would be she growing up and rape others. It's like, I got raped, you have to be raped, and now I feel better about myself because I can rape you. But on the other hand, she grew up and she established this charity which helped African American women and girls not to get raped, right? I think it's called Angels Network, if I remember right, Oprah Angels Network, right? And so that's what she did, like prevent rape because of her pain, turn that into power to help others. Beautiful thing. So that's the second level. Now people might think that that's already in. Well, it can be beautiful, but you're still driven by, enslaved by what was done to you, even though it was power, but it's a power that is not entirely free, you know, because you're still tied to that memory. I got raped, or I got someone did something to me, I have to do something. It's a good thing. But the third level is transcendence. It means that you just forgive. You just like entirely forgive, and who knows? Maybe Oprah already forgave her. I think she did, right? So maybe she already overcame it, and she already reached the third level. Because, and I have to mention it now, when you go to the next level, you can always choose to use the what do you call that? You can always choose to handle pain on a lower level. So once you reach the transcendence level, you can always choose to transform it, you know. So, but before we move it like a little deeper into that, I would like to. Oh, you got a question?
When you say transcendence and it's forgive, once you forgive, what happens to that pain?
You first of all, you become free. You become free. That's the most important thing. You are not enslaved to that memory, to that person. I always think that revenge is, even though you successfully what do you call that, have a revenge against someone, you're still enslaved to that person, because it means that you're alive, you're living your life in order to win over that person. Maybe that person doesn't care anymore, you know, he or she might die already, but might already be dead, right? But you're still like, I have to make it even and all that. So you're still driven by that. Yeah.
So without forgiving, you lose some of your power to whatever person or whatever entity that you feel still holds that over you.
Exactly. The only way to, I always believe that forgiveness is the highest form of freedom. I do believe that, and I try to do it every day. I was born with a lot of hatred. Like I can tell you, like I was born hating a lot of people who did, like, you know, bad things to me, said bad things to me. And even nowadays, when people say something bad to me or try to become my enemies, I have to exert a lot of energy and willpower, and have to use a lot of awareness to be like, I have to be free, you know. And sometimes it does come up. I'm like, I hate you, but I'm like, whew, hang on. Okay, I'll try. So we all sleep, you know. We all sleep. I'm not nearly that level of like Dalai Lama or I don't know who, like the Pope or whatever. Like, you know, I'm not that level. But one thing is that, and this is, I think, is useful for the audience as well. The most important thing is awareness. As long as you know, awareness is the first step of change. As long as you realize that, okay, I'm not at that level yet, and then you're like, I'm gonna take a step to change myself, I think that's okay. The most dangerous thing is not being aware. Like, you being angry, hateful, and you're not being aware of that. Scary.
It really is scary, and I'm definitely gonna take at least this personally with me, because I want to be free and liberated. And so anytime someone wishes something ill upon myself, I must learn to forgive that person and use that pain and that discomfort for the good, or like you said, transforming it for the positive. You said that you grew up with a lot of hatred, hating certain people. Can you talk a little bit about that pain that you felt and how you transformed it to the positive?
Definitely. This will be interesting. We all have genes for violence, and I think I have that one. It's called, and I'm not kidding you, it's called warrior's gene. And if you look it up, you search that term, warrior's gene, it will come up. There's a quote for it. I can't remember the quote for that gene. This gene is like, makes you aggressive. And of course, it's not that when someone has this gene, then you become like a freaking like crazy guy, like go out and
yeah.
It's just you become more susceptible to anger. You tend to become angrier and full of like this like fire inside you more, and it runs in my family. It runs because when I trace back to my granddad is a mafia in the southern part of Thailand, and he doesn't shoot people, but he had guns at home, and he owned a plantation. So when thieves, burglars came, he just shot them. right? Maybe they're not dead, but he did shot them, right? And it ran in the family because my father also, he's like, you know, he has this what do you call that, fury inside him, right? Although he's a great dad, he never did anything to me, but sometimes he would shout, he would be like really loud, like boom, boom, and that definitely was passed down to me. Because since I was young, I was obsessed with Thai kickboxing, Muay Thai. I love it. I love watching MMA, love watching street fight. I love playing with the sword, bow, guns, crossbow, any crazy thing like that. I love it. So and I love sometimes watching violent movies. I love studying like history of like violent part of it, like Dark Age, World War II, all that stuff, right? But on the other side, I love peace as well. So it's quite crazy because I think it's because of that I'm aware of that. I know that I'm like this. I was born like this. But I know that the world doesn't work like that. You can't just go around and just shoot people. It's not gonna work, right? And I do have a lot of compassion. I do. But there's every time this thing comes up, I really need to practice being aware of it. This thing like I want to kill this guy. I want to kill him. It makes me so angry. I'm like, okay, that's okay, right? So yeah, to answer your question, that's how I know. It's always been in me, in the family, and also when I learn about the warrior's gene, that's very interesting too. If you want to look deeper, there's this guy, although I can't remember his name. Maybe you can just type warrior genes, and one thing will lead to another. And there's this book. Oh yeah, okay, I remember now. The book is called Behave, by Robert Sapolsky, and very interesting. He's exploring to the biology of good and bad. Yeah.
Well, you mentioned that you love peace, and in one of your videos, I remember seeing that you lived through a philosophy of peace and power. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Right. So my motto of life, like itself, like I use it always, is be peaceful, be powerful. That's my life philosophy, right? So it's intentional that I came up with this motto, because be peaceful is the answer. I mean, in life, we all want happiness, joy, pleasure, and all that. But I think what we want more than that is peace. It's just this feeling of like, yeah, you can sleep soundly at night. You love your life, peace, right? Who want like to go out of the house and have bullets flying around, right? Or a bomb dropping from the sky? It's just ridiculous. You can't live like that. So peace is what we want. But more importantly, is peace inside, right? Be peaceful is like be peaceful inside.
Internal peace, not only external peace.
Exactly. Be able, and this motto, by the way, I'm not saying it so that I'm not telling it to people. More than that, I'm telling it to myself. When every time I say that, I tell it to myself. I'm like, be peaceful, be powerful. Yeah. And then of course, like, there's an explanation behind be powerful, but you're gonna ask me?
Yeah. Well, in westernized culture, and just so the audience knows, we traveled all the way from Miami, Florida to Bangkok to talk to Kate. For you, the word power isn't the same as westernized culture. In westernized culture, power a lot of times means financial gain, monetary power. It means authoritarian type of a figure. But for you, that doesn't mean that. Power to you is the ability to be able to do something. Is that right?
Yeah, man. You watched my video. Oh, beautiful thing. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it. So yeah, power comes from the French word pouvoir, and pouvoir means to be able to, right? So power only means that you are able to do something. I have the power to I don't know. I have the power to commit suicide. That is a bad example. I should use that. I have, but it works. It's actually a workable example. You know, I do have a power to commit suicide if I want, right? But not a healthy example. I have a power to I don't know, like drive. Okay, it's good. Simple example. Because I am able to drive. Yeah. So this man, this woman, has a lot of power. Only means that he or she is able to do a lot of things. That is the root, the real meaning of power. So when I say be powerful, it only means that I wish that you are able to do a lot of useful things, beneficial things for you and for other people.
And so when you're talking about your life philosophy of peacefulness and power, it's not so much about the external forces. Yes, there can be famine, there can be bombs dropping, but the peace has to come from inside, and the power to say, I can do this, which is what I'm understanding, is also stemming from inside. It's not external, such as authority and monetary gain.
Yes,
right?
Exactly right. Like that person, Victor E. Frank, right? Which wrote the book "A Man's Search for Meaning," which is one of my favorite books of all time. Like he said in the book that he got captured, right, by and he was in the Nazi concentration camp, and he got everything was taken away from him, everything. But he said he still retained one last power, which is the greatest power of all, which is the power to choose one's attitude, to have one's own way, right? Beautiful thing. When I read that book, I was in London and I almost cried. I love it because it is true. Like, people can torture you, chain you, whip you and all that stuff, and you have no power to do anything. But on the inside, no one will be able to say to you, don't forgive. No one can force you to do that. You will always have the power to forgive, even though everything is chained. Everything, right? So that is true power, real power. It comes from that, from the inside.
And how does that relate, what you just said about living this peaceful life of peacefulness from the inside and power, relate to your Buddhist, because you're not religious, you told me, but you do practice, or the Buddhist philosophy, and you're intrigued by that. How is that related?
Yeah, definitely. So, first of all, I love Buddhist philosophy and also Zen philosophy. I can maybe tell you something about what I wrote there with the Zen Japanese philosophy. So, yeah, I should do it. Actually, can we see it on the camera? All right, great. Okay, this is gonna be fun. So, should I put it like this? All right, and I'll sit down and I'll point it out which one is which. So this is actually, like, I can't run it all the way up, but these are my tattoos. I have it all the way up here. Run like all the way, like my backbone, right? So I love this philosophy because this is Zen Buddhism, and that word means earth, is Zuchi, earth, and then Misu, water, then Hi, fire, Kaze, wind, and then Sora, sky, and emptiness. Now, I won't go into like too much detail, but I would first say that, or maybe I should. I'll do it fast though. Like, okay, so earth is a strength. So one should have strength, right? So that's the first thing. The first level is be strong, right? Be strong. But after you become strong, then the first level is you become adaptable, like water. Oh, by the way, this is the philosophy of the samurai philosophy that Miyamoto Musashi, the greatest samurai that has ever lived, used. He used this philosophy. It's in a book called The Book of Five Rings, Gorin no Cho, which is a great book. I love it. Actually, the book itself is boring,
and
but
strength,
the philosophy is good.
And strength would be, when we talk about strength, because remember, this is a westernized base. You're not talking about physical strength. You're talking about strength and the power to do, which is what we were talking about earlier,
yes,
right?
Yes, I'm trying to tie it in. Is that if you're too hard? Okay, teeth and tongue. Teeth will fall down, like you would lose all the teeth, but your tongue will stay for the rest of your life, right? If you don't cut it off. And also like an oak tree, when the storm comes, an oak tree might fall, but this what do you call that thing? The really like this wheat, right? Wheat grass, right? Like this really flexible wheat grass, you know.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, just like tall wheat grass. They would stand in the wind. You know, usually oak tree would fall because it's too tall and too big.
Sturdy.
Yeah, too sturdy and all that. But this flexible wheat grass, right, will stay. Right? So there's wisdom. And okay, the best example is actually buildings. Do you know buildings in Japan, they can sway, they can dance, they can do like this, because there's earthquake all the time. And if buildings in Japan just stay like this, and there's an earthquake, it's gonna be like boom, it's gonna fall. But buildings in Japan are designed in such a way that it can like dance like this. So that's the second one,
which is being able to adapt. And adaptable.
Be soft when you have to. Be nice. Be kind. Be all those things when you have to, right? And then the third one is fire. Fire is passion. So you have to have passion in life, right? You have to have. We again come back full circle to pain. So that's like pain, passion. You have to have that, right, as well in order to live. And also in the art of samurai, in the art of warrior, you be strong when you fight. You become adaptable because each enemy is not the same. You have to be able to adapt, and you have to have passion when you draw your weapon, when you slash, and all that. So this is like life and warrior philosophy, like go both ways. The last one is epic. I'm telling you, like the top one, but we'll go to that. Kaze is the fourth one. This is very interesting as well. Win is compassion. So this relates to Buddhist philosophy as well. But first of all, I want to tell you a bit about Kaze, win, because in samurai art, do you know why like samurai sword has to be so sharp? Katana, which is a samurai sword, is the sharpest sword in the world, and it has to be like that because of compassion.
How so?
Yeah, when you cut off the enemy, you have to make him die right away. If it's blunt, you just have to hit him again and again, like boom, 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 boom. It's like freaking torturous. Yeah. Like, kill me already. Stop hitting me with that blunt thing, right? But katana, it's like, and then the head is off, or the body is like gone, like half, like cut in half. So that is because you have to defend yourself. You have to, get rid of the enemy. But how to do it in such a way which is the most effective, right? Merciful in that sense, in that warrior sense. You do it and you do it fast. You just flip and then gone, right? So that's in the samurai way. In life, think about win. Win never go around evil people and then only blow towards good people, or like go around criminal and blow toward rich people or whatever. Wind blows towards everyone equally. That's how your heart should be. It's like you have equal compassion inside you, right? I don't say that you have to treat everyone exactly the same, but inside you have this compassion spread from you like the wind everywhere, right? So that's kaze, that's wind. And also kaze is, have you heard of this thing like kamikaze? Yeah?
Kamikaze?
Kamikaze. It's like the Japanese suicide.
Yes.
Yeah. It comes from that. Kami means God, divine. So kamikaze is divine wind. So they come like the wind of God, and then they boom, 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 and it's like bombed the at that time the U.S. We call it carrier, only one plane with full oil, and then just like boom. Right? So that's just like some what do you call that? It's interesting knowledge about history. Anyway, so the last one is the one that I love the most. Sora. So we all know that four elements, right? Like earth, fire, wind, water, right? You know, boring and all that. But the last one is emptiness. It's also an element in Japanese Zen Buddhist philosophy. In Buddhist philosophy, this is huge. It's called Sunyata, and it's also in Hindu. It's huge. I'm telling you. It's the state, the stage of enlightenment.
And it's funny that you mentioned that, and I'm glad it's in these teachings because before there was noise, there was silence, and before there were physical beings or the physical material, there was nothing, and so there was empty space, and most of life is empty space. And is that what this Zen Buddhist philosophy is explaining?
The same thing. Nothing. Emptiness, nothing is as fertile as emptiness. Alan Watts said that. One of my favorite philosophers, Alan Watts. Because this room is empty, we can be here. If this room is full, we can't sit anywhere. There's no place. Because that glass, because this glass is empty, we can pour water in it. If it's full, it's useless glass, right? So emptiness is powerful, so powerful. When your mind is empty, it's the most powerful mind ever. Because anything can happen. And this is why Miyamoto Musashi, the samurai, he never lost. He said it is said in the books, in the legend, that he never lost. Because his mind is always empty when he fight. So his enemy will be like, oh, should I slash him on the right side or on the left side? Or should I? And then he'll be like, and he's just empty. And then when an enemy does anything, he just, counteract or do anything accordingly from emptiness. Right?
His mind was clear.
Clear. There's even a word for this in the art of samurai. It's called muchin no chin. Beautiful thing. Chin means mind or heart in Japanese, and mu means no. Like there's this shop, this brand called Mu. When you go to that Mu shop, there's no brand. It's the shop without brand. Like you pick up the item, like there's no brand. Anyway, Mu means none. So Muchin means no mind. The mind of no mind. Muchin no chin. A samurai or a person, actually, this is coming back to our life, right? When you're in a crisis, you should be so still so that you know exactly what to act next. You shouldn't be like, oh shit, oh, what should I do? Oh man. You should be like empty, and then the best solution will come. You will know exactly where to strike if you're in a battle situation or in the debate or any crisis, like your house is burning. If your mind is full of so many things, you won't be able to come up with the right thing. But if your mind is empty, it's going to be like, okay, first this, then that, then I help this one, then I take out this thing, then I call it, boom, 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 boom. That is the most powerful mind. So that is Sora. Sora in Japanese means sky. Sky. How beautiful that is. It's not an emptiness of like nothingness. It's an emptiness of the sky, which means that it can hold anything. If you shoot nuclear bomb, if you just shoot nuclear bomb into the sky and then it explode, the sky doesn't get hurt. You can't do anything to the sky. Everything will fall down. The sky will stay like that. That should be your mind.
You thank you for sharing all this, by the way. I'm sure the platform really appreciates it. I know I do. When you talk about having a clear mind and emptiness, a lot of times I get messages from people that they feel lonely. Obviously, if they're feeling lonely and they're constantly thinking about it, they're not really having a clear mind. They're actually giving into the mind, right? And you had a video which was very interesting, and you talked about loneliness, how sometimes we may feel lonely and our mind may tell us that we're lonely because we just broke up with a girlfriend or boyfriend, or our close ones just died, but we're never really alone. And so can you touch a bit upon that? And this is just to remind you, Khunkhao, I really appreciate this. The westernized platform, the way of thinking, is so much different than the Eastern way of viewing something. So can you touch on that a little bit?
Definitely. I'm glad, because this is like an Eastern touch to things. Because before I talk about loneliness, it's a perfect way to transition into that. question, because when you say I'm empty, it's like, it sounds negative, right? Like, yeah, I feel so empty. Well, perfect. Because when you feel empty, it means that there's possibility. Empty equals possibility. Because you feel empty, it means that you can feel anything if you want to afterwards. If you already feel happy or angry or hate, jealousy or whatever, then it means that your mind is already full. There's not really a possibility of feeling anything in there right there, right? But if you feel empty, it means that you're ready to be anything. So when you feel pain, I want you to focus, I mean like anything who's listening to this, like I want you to focus on not the pain, but the possibility, right? Pain and possibility, they usually come together. They usually arise together. Like when you feel pain, okay, someone dumps you, right? For example, oh, I feel so empty, I feel so lonely. Perfect. That is the time for something in there to grow. Possibility for you to realize, first of all, maybe the truth, that nothing is yours. That's the first truth. That's also Buddhist philosophy. Nothing is yours. The third truth. There's truth. There are three truths in Buddhist philosophy. Highest truth: impermanence, suffering, and non-ownership. Right? No clinging, no attachment. So that's the third thing. You realize that, oh shit, I can't own anything. I think I own my body. One day I'm gonna die. I'm just gonna get sick. Right? I can't control it. I think I own my boyfriend. I own my girlfriend. She's gone now. He's gone now. I don't own them. Oh crap. Realize that. That's the truth. That's life. You don't have to be depressed about it. You can celebrate, because it's the truth. Even if he or she doesn't leave you now, one day one of you is gonna die, which is okay. Because if both of you live on forever, it's horrible. You want to live like till the end of what the hell? Like millions and millions and millions of you can't even. Your mind can't even tolerate that stuff, right? It's
the fact that we know that we're gonna die is what propels us to do the things that we want to do.
Exactly.
Because time is limited.
Exactly. That's also that's a beautiful thing. Exactly. So to come back to your question about loneliness, right? So alone, of course, I said in the video that alone comes from, again, from two words joined together, all and one. This is actual thing, right? This is like, if you look it up, it's like all and one and then alone. So actually when you're alone, you're like all one with everything, but you just don't realize it. Like if I sit here alone, sit here by only myself, I think maybe I'm alone, but actually I'm connected to everything. Without the air that without the air conditioner doing the thing, then I can't get the coldness, right? And who made that thing, right? Someone made it, so I'm connected to the ones who made the air conditioner. I'm connected to the person who made these fabrics, right? And I'm connected to, I just ate something, I'm connected to the food that I ate and the farmers who grew that food. And without connection, one cannot live. To live, to exist, means already that you are connected to other things. How can you exist without connecting? So there is no such thing as you are disconnected. It's only that you feel disconnected, but you are always connected.
And that may be tough for some people to understand, and especially with a westernized approach where emptiness implies a lot of times loneliness and depression. But it's only until we feel that we know that we're not that, not that we're not, but that there can be a possibility for more.
I'll tell you, I totally agree, and I really want everyone to know here that I'm not like just read a book and then just like spill out all these like nice quotations. And you watch my video. Just last year, I was clinically, and I didn't diagnose myself, I was clinically diagnosed with depression, right? And I wouldn't go into detail what happened, right? But for months, right, I was just like felt so damn empty. I wanted to kill myself, like truly. I just like felt so bad. Even though I studied psychology, I am a psychologist, but I'm an artist as well. As you can see, the way I dress and the way I'm an artist. And an artist, when someone hit like someone who is an artist. An artist tends to go like this and then down like this, right? Because it's the way like an artist is made. So I'm like, boo, and I'm like, shit, right? I want to die, right? Feels so empty. But I overcame that depression because I went to LA, and I realized that if you watch my video on depression, I realized that exactly because I felt so empty. I'm like, hang on, if I didn't, I'll tell you the whole story. So the plane was like, experience the turbulence. Also, so you watch the video. So the plane was like on experience turbulence, and I was like, normally, and everyone was like screaming and stuff, and I was like, I don't mind, I can die now. I don't mind at all. I want them to die, but I don't want these people to die. I'm like, I feel bad for them. So if you want to kill me, I'm just thinking like, universe or whatever, just kill me and leave these people alone. But everyone is screaming. I'm like, nice. I want to do this, right? But not for them. I don't want other people. Anyway, at that time, sudden realization. I'm like, what the? I'm not afraid of death. I am not afraid of death. What is this? This is crazy. How far people have to practice in order to overcome that fear. And I got it at that time. Like I say, pain and possibility comes together. And with emptiness comes, emptiness comes like possibility. Empty is possibility, right? So at that time, it was possible for me to realize that I can do almost anything now that didn't hurt other people. Because I'm not afraid of the scariest thing in the world, which is to die. So I realized I better do it. I better do almost everything that I was afraid of. So I flew to LA. It was my friend Sean. That's him, by the way. That's us on the cover. So I flew to LA with Sean, and we did like so many crazy things. I can't even mention them all because like we'll get like censorship. But we did so many crazy. Even the tattoo that I got it there in LA. I got it there and hurt like shit, but I love it. I love it. It hurt so much, but we did many things. We did many things. I shouldn't mention them, but okay. My point is that after I came back from LA with that realization, gone depression, because I realized that hey, it happened for a reason. So that I realized this truth. So whoever is feeling empty right now, I want you to dig deep inside, into that emptiness, into it, see eye to eye with it, and realize that now you're not afraid of death. So go do all those things, which doesn't hurt other people, okay? But go do all those things that you're afraid of before you die. If you want to travel to freaking like Africa and help people there, or Amazon or Everest and all that, within limits, within reason, go do it. Because you're depressed now. Nothing can hurt you. Nothing can make you more depressed, right? So that's like the extreme approach though. Like caption underneath, right? Like consult doctors, professionals, do course. But that is my approach, and it's just my way of doing things.
And thank you for sharing that. Obviously you shared something that was very personal to you, and I appreciate that. In another, like we were just talking about depression. Now I want to talk about happiness for a second. And when it comes to happiness, you said if you were in the gates of heaven, what would you have to do to get in? Oh. And you said that you would if you're in the gates of heaven and the door's locked or whatever, yeah, you can say, I need to use the bathroom, let me in, right? But you would have to be thankful. You would have to be grateful and say thank you. Can you elaborate a little bit about that?
Definitely. So every time you feel bad, like really bad, it means you're in hell, right? You're in a bad place. You're in a prison or whatever. And the way to get out of that and to go to heaven is to just thank something that you have right now. And I know that we all have, right? If you are watching this right now, I'm sure you have an internet, right? You have a mobile phone or a computer. You have food. You have house, definitely. I think eyes. You have that. Ears. So many things to thank, right? I'll give you like simple example. Sometimes, right, when I experience hardship in my life, like struggle, my life is so bad and all that, I look around and I'm like, hey, I have my family here, I have my house here, I have all those things that I mentioned, organs, brain, and all that. I am so lucky, because when I look at these children, these kids in Africa or those very poor country. I saw photos of them like having to use plastic bottles as shoes, and they don't have water that they have to drink from horse urine, and shower, bathe in like horse urine. I'm like, man, jeez, I'm so lucky, like to have this water defying gravity up to my toilet. Oh man! So when I bathe into that, and even Tony Robbins, we talked about Tony Robbins before listening to, even Tony Robbins did it. Does it like I think every day, gratefulness practice, and in his seminar Date with Destiny, he have people do that and they cry and all that as well. But I actually did it not because I watch him, but because I do realize that we especially because we have like Western audiences, right, and audiences in the US, we are bombarded with this message that the chase for more, right? More is like that hole in your heart in which the whole universe can't even fill, right? This need, this mental disease of more is crazy. You're like, hey, have more, be richer, which is okay, That
westernized approach of I can get more, I want more.
Like I said, like I'm not saying that, hey, so now sit down and just rot on your chair, don't do anything and all that. We all have that desire, but once in a while, stop and just realize how much you already have. You don't have to be like, go crazy and be like, I'm gonna die if I don't get that thing or whatever. You won't die. You'll be okay. Relax. You're not in a jungle in Amazon, or like there's like no one is gonna kill you. Probably. So relax from time to time, and then you'll be okay. And that's peace. That's peace.
Peace and happiness. And thank you for that. A lot of times I get people messaging me, how do I stop being lazy? I can't stop procrastinating. I can't stop. I want to do stuff, but I can't. You have an interesting approach as well. You talk about and I don't want to pronounce it wrong, you talk about the Zeigarnik effect and how to use it to our advantage. And for the audience to know, and I'm maybe mispronouncing, the Zeigarnik effect is basically, if you want to do something but you feel like you're having trouble doing it, just do it for 5 minutes. And that was the art of how you were able to write your books. Is that accurate?
Exactly.
What about the approach, which is very important and crucial, having realistic goals? Because some other people say that everything is possible. Nothing is impossible. Really, there's limits to things. If I want to fly, I'm going to have to get on a plane. It's not like I could jump off of a roof and just start going. So having realistic goals in life, a step-by-step approach, how important is this into your life philosophy?
Definitely. So I'll separate the answer into two parts. So I'll touch upon that Zeigarnik effect first, and then we'll go into the nothing is impossible thing. So first, Zeigarnik effect is a real effect, psychological effect, which says that if you already start doing something, you tend to want to finish it, right? Like food on your plate, for example, simple example. So you have this food on your plate. You're already full, but there's just this piece left, this one piece left. It is in front of you. Now, you can use that to your advantage, right? By starting something. And then your brain will be like, hey, finish this essay already, finish this project, finish this homework, finish this book already, right? But one of the first reason why we don't finish it is because we don't even start. We're like, I'm not gonna start. Whoa, the thing is, the reason why you don't start is because you're thinking about finishing it, in which the brain will always resist that which uses a lot of energy. The brain hates to use energy, hates it, right? Because our ancestors, right? Well, like when we were like hundreds of thousands of years ago, our ancestors had to reserve energy. Food is not now we have food everywhere, but in the past it's like we have to our ancestors had to reserve energy for hunting, for winter and all that stuff. So we were born to reserve energy. Anything which is gonna use a lot of energy, the brain will go like nah, not that one, right? So the way around your brain is to think about only 10 minutes of doing it, 5 minutes of doing it, and trust me, the Zeigarnik effect will kick in, and then you will continue doing it still. A simple example is workout, right? I talk about like P30, Max 30 by Sean T just now. The workout, freaking painful workout. I hate it. The way I went about it to get myself going with this workout is like, I'm just gonna press play. I'm just gonna play it, right? Whatever happens afterwards, it's okay, right? So what I'll do is I'll go change into my like we call that sporting gears and stuff, and then sometimes my brain would feed me these thoughts like, hey, are you gonna run? It's gonna be painful. I'm just gonna ignore it. I'm gonna be like, shut up, and just I'm just gonna push play and everything will be alright. So I go, I push play, and then once everything is there, settled already, I feel bad about going back, about changing back to my normal clothes, closing the that
program requires more energy.
Exactly. So I'm like, okay, I better do it. And you only do it, you have to do it like first few times. After that, this thing called habit will kick in, right? So after that, it'll be automatic. It'll be like you will feel pain not to do it, right? So habit is you can call that the habit will become settled once you feel bad when you cannot do it. Like you feel bad if you can't. Like I feel bad if I don't write a book, right? I feel bad if I don't write that day, right? So I feel like I have to write something today. I have to write. But in the past, it wasn't like this. You want like trust me. In the past, it would be like, I don't want to write. I'm like, this is bad. This is painful because I have like back problem as well, and I have like trapezius problem because I sit down a lot. But I had to overcome that pain by saying to myself, I'm gonna write 1 page today. 1 page. That's it. But then, of course, when I sat down, writing 1 page, then Zeigarnik effect. I'm like, okay, second one, third one. Then when someone called me, hey, dinner is ready, I'm like, okay, writing, So it's like that, right? So that's the one thing. Now your second question is
procrastination and laziness. Well, laziness.
Yeah.
Which was setting realistic goals for yourself to overcome laziness.
Exactly. Well, the thing is, sometimes when we set like the goal too high, then we become we lose heart, right? We become like, I can't do it. I better not do it and all that. I think one needs to realize that you can't take an elevator to success. You need to use the stairs. That's the thing. You need to use the stairs. It's like boom, 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 boom. There's no elevator to success. Maybe there's elevator to fame, right? If you run around naked, that's like elevator to fame. You'll be famous soon, right? But that's not success. Success is stairs. It's like step by step. You okay? Next step. Okay, this one. Next step. So you do have that goal. I think your dream needs to be big, but your discipline needs to be small. Right? And let me explain a little bit about that. Like you can dream big. You can be like, I'm gonna be a millionaire. You can dream that. That's okay. But then your discipline has to be small, which means that you break down into goals, right? Small discipline. What I'm gonna do today? Okay, today in order to be a millionaire, first I need to read books every day. So small discipline. 2 pages every day. 2 pages. That might sound like what? 2 pages? That's so little. But 1 year, that accumulates to around what is it like 700 something pages, right?
More.
Yeah, 800. Yeah, something like that. 700, 800 plus pages, and that's like 2 or 3 books, and that's better than nothing, of course. 2 or 3 books can transform your life. Read something like 7 Habits or The Alchemist or The Power of Now or the Millionaire's Mind or whatever. Like these things, right? You do it little by little, right? Okay, I'll tell you one story to leave it to the audience about laziness. It has been found that if 2 ships are leaving the dock, and then one ship just turn to the right side like 0.5 degree, just like this, you can't see the difference. But then once the ship are going, right, and then like thousands of kilometers, miles, right, pass, different continent, same thing. It's like you're like, okay, I'm gonna change this very little, but you do it every day. You do it every day. Long enough time, different continent. So that's the mindset that I want you to try to implement as you want to overcome laziness. Just little, very little. 1 spoon less per day. 1 spoon less. If you're not thin, or if your body is not like better, healthier by like 2 months, then it's you're not human. You will be healthier.
Yeah. Well, thanks again. Before I get into the topic about mental health and the audience question, there's one more topic I want to talk about, which is interesting. You wrote about, or you did a video about kindness and how sometimes being too kind can be not a good thing. But in Buddhist philosophy, they preach being kind and the benefits that come with being kind. So can you maybe elaborate a little bit as to how being too kind can be a bad thing, and without, I don't want the audience to get the wrong message that being kind is a negative. So, but being too kind is. So can you touch a little bit about that?
Definitely. 2 different things, right? So, but first of all, I want to separate. Yeah, I should separate this. Nice and kind, right? One should be kind, but I don't recommend you being too nice, and that is a bit. I have to explain on that as well. I have to elaborate on it because it's dangerous. Maybe people are like, what? Why? Like, nice is good, right? It's true. It's true. But it's just you need to dig deep on why. I think why, or the reason behind it, is so much more than the behavior itself, right? If you're nice or kind or whatever, because you're like that, you have compassion. You want the other person to feel like okay, to feel better. That's okay. Oh, by the way, like, of course, we have to mention compassion has the same root with passion. Passion means pain. We all remember that. Com in Latin means together, like community, communication. Communication means like make the thing we talk about like the same thing. So compassion means that you feel the pain with the other person. Beautiful thing, beautiful meaning, right? So I think one should have compassion. We should have compassion, right? But if you are being nice or kind because you want something back or you're being manipulative, that's the one that is dangerous, right? Because sometimes we're nice because we're like, okay, maybe I can get something out of this, right? Which is okay, right? We all have to get around. But once again, you have to be aware of that, because that means you are not being genuine. You're not being like from the heart. I don't want anything from this. I just want to express, right? I think there's a difference between expressing yourself and investing. It's like if you're kind or nice because you want something in return, that's like you are investing in the other person. But if you are just expressing your kindness or niceness, that's okay, right? Now let's touch upon like being too nice or too kind. First of all, kindness comes from the word kin, K-I-N. Kin means brothership, like kindred, like you're my brother, you're my sister. You see something similar between you and the other person. Kinship, kindness, same meaning, same. That is the root of the word kindness. So when you think about it, when you hate someone, one of the first thing you do is you try to find that which is different from you, in the other person and you, the thing that is different between you and the other person. Like, he's so picky, right? I'm not picky. Like, he's so loud, I'm not that loud, right? Maybe you're equally loud, but that's what you're trying to separate yourself. You're trying to be different from the other person, right? When, on the other hand, when you're kind to someone, this is deep. I want everyone to realize this, but when you're kind to someone, first thing is that you see similarities between you and the other person. Oh man, I used to be in that situation. I feel you, bro. I feel you. That's the first thing. You feel something. You feel that, the similarity. Or you to use an example from history. I love studying this, but concentration camp and labor camp and all that. One of the first things they do is they take out the name. You don't have a name when you go into concentration camp anymore. They call you by number.
By a number.
Like 42, 41, whatever. Because they want to get rid of that similarity between the guard and the prisoners. Because the guards have names. And if the prisoners have names, they have something in common. But if the prisoners are just number, not like me, you know? And even the situation in Rwanda, like Tutsi and Hutus, like they kill each other and all that. They found that one of the first things they did there was like, they called the other person like cockroach, rats, right? Not humans anymore. You're not humans like me. You're like animals. You're like insects. You're like, so to be different is the first, to try to separate yourself from the other person is the first step into like building more hatred. Kindness, true kindness, is not when you try to be good to the other person, but you realize that there's really no other person.
Kindness is when you're doing it for your own, because it's coming from inside, but the term nice is mostly when you're doing it to try and please others.
To try to get approval, to try to get something back, to get something out of it, you know, that's the thing. And to sum it up with like being too kind. Okay, one, well, I can go into detail about this because it's fun, but just first thing is, don't forget that you have to be kind to yourself too, right? So when you be kind to others, it's okay, but I would recommend that you realize that you too is a human being. So if you are kind and it doesn't hurt yourself, by all means be kind. But if you have to hurt yourself, like, or if someone is trying to hurt you, like trying to, I don't know, like kill your, trying to hurt you basically, or step over you, and then you are like, be kind and like, oh please, like step over me, I'm alright and all that. Some people are okay with that, and I wouldn't say like they're like bad, you know, or they're stupid. That's their path, you know. There's some people in the world who can always forgive and can be like step on and they don't mind. If these people create a lot of beauty in the world as well, but just not my path. I respect that path, but not my path. My path is, if you step on my boundary or if you try to hurt me and all that, I would have to let you know. I would have to be like, I'm not okay with that. Because I also see myself as a human being, and I'm like, okay, I have to take care of myself. Because if I don't take care of myself, I would have no time, energy, and no respect enough to treat others well. That's just me. But you know, some people can really, and I respect that. They can really go like cope with that, like being stepped on, being everything, and they still have kindness for others, genuine. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much. Now we're gonna change the topic a little bit, Mr. Khunkhao, and we're
Just call me K.
Okay, yeah. I appreciate it, K.
No,
I just want to talk a little bit about mental health, and we're here in Bangkok, Thailand. So a lot of the followers are over there in the western side of the world, and we had just visited the National Institute of Mental Health in Vietnam, and we saw that mental health was behind compared to the US, at least by about 40 years, and I'm not even kidding. So over here in Thailand, how do the Thailandian people see mental health?
Okay. I would say, first of all, I haven't been to Vietnam, so there's no comparison here at all. I'm just sharing what I know about
I appreciate
Thailand.
that.
Definitely. So first thing, mental health here, as we discussed before the interview, is not big. It's not like big, because people go to temples for problems with life, mental problem. They go to monks, right? They ask monks like, oh, I have depression, I'm in debt, someone just broke up with me, I'm experiencing divorce. Most of the times they go to temples. So not a huge thing here. Not a big thing.
So it's not a big thing because you're saying that a lot of times people will resort to religion, and a lot of times in this case Buddhism, for mental health issues such as anxiety and depression. And so that answered my next question, but how can the mental health in general improve? How can there be more resources for people that are struggling with depression, anxiety, and trauma? Because trauma is a big thing in the US. The whole field, psychiatry and psychology field has shifted. The realm has shifted, the paradigm. There's been a paradigm shift where now everything's focused and stems from a trauma perspective. And when we do assessments, it's very trauma oriented. So what can we do here in Thailand, or what can Thailand do to help and provide more resources for the population at large when it comes to mental health?
Definitely. So first of all, is the awareness. That sounds weird. What is that? Is that gonna go into the? Not right. It's okay, right? Okay. It's the air conditioner. So the mental health. The first thing we can do is raising what you're doing more. Exactly, it's a beautiful thing. Raising awareness, making people more okay with going to the hospitals to see psychiatrists. One thing which is true here, and I can tell you this for a fact, Thai people have that. They don't have that trauma that much, but they have stigma. When they go to psychiatrists, people see them as weird. Like seriously, like they'll be like, why do you have to go to these like shrinks? Like, are you okay? Like, are you like experiencing, like, are you like, you know, are you all right? Are you an all right person? Yeah. You know, that is the thing here, definitely, right? I would, but it's becoming a little bit better, you know. But we have to do like much better. Whereas if you go to a temple, it's okay. Go see a monk, fine. You know, you go do merits. It's called tambun here. It's like you do like, you know, you donate to the temple. That's okay. So the first thing is to make it less of a stigma for people to go and see psychiatrists or seek help, like counseling or whatever. Don't see it as like you're weird, you're not alright, you're sick, you're ill, and all that. That would have to go.
So there's a huge stigma here, and people, it's okay to see a monk, but it's not okay to go see the psychiatrist.
People would look at you strange. I can tell you that for a fact. Yeah.
So we still have a long way to go, and I will continue to do my best to help promote mental health awareness, although I don't speak Thailandian, so it would only be to the English-speaking population within Thailand. But
you do. You speak Thai. Sawadee krap. Yeah, right. Sawadee krap.
Thanks so much, Kay. Now I have some audience questions, if that's okay with you, and then we'll end the interview like that.
Definitely.
So this one is from, I don't know where this person's from, but her name is Ayasa, and she says, do you have any advice on how not to fail in school?
Nice name. Ayasa. Wow. Wonder what that means. Not to fail in school. Okay. So I first of all, I was, let's say, fortunate that I was a good student when I was a student. I got good grades, and that's not because, like, you know, I was like particularly smart or whatever, but because I know the secret. So the secret to not fail in school, as shocking as it sounds, is to teach more. You need to share your knowledge with other people, because the brain doesn't register knowledge just by memorizing, just by you like looking at the reading a textbook again and again and again. It will help, but not as much as you teaching others. I remember I got like very good grades in stats, although I don't like math. I don't like math at all, but I got really good grades in statistics because I taught others. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna teach all of you how to do stats, and that's what that forced me to study statistics. And the more amazing thing is that the brain, when you try to put input like memorizing and all that stuff, it would only go to short-term memory, right, in the hippocampus. But when you try to teach it to others, the brain will be like, hey, this is useful. As you know that word, like use it or lose it, right? The Hebbian theory, Hebbian law. You have to use that knowledge. And then the brain will be like, oh, you're using it all the time. This is you have to keep this. So it will transfer that memory into other parts of the brain, like neocortex, and separate it into other parts. And it will make it solidify in your brain. So the reason why I remember like this stuff or the stuff we're talking about is only because I share it. I share it with you, I share it with my students, with my fans, with my friends, with my family and all that. So Arayasa, right? You can teach other people. When you learn something, you teach, and you that would help you learn so fast and also memorize it well. And the other thing is this: people will ask you. Once you become the teacher of that subject, people will be like, hey, how about this one? And you're like, oh crap, I don't know. I have to find out. Who become smarter? You become an expert in that stuff. Whereas if you study alone, you're just like, you don't know where your holes are, your weak points, your Achilles heels or whatever. You don't know where they are. But your students will point them out. So definitely teach other people. And what I want to tell her, is that don't be too serious about failure, because that's going to give you stress. And with stress, there's some healthy stress, a healthy amount of stress. It's called eustress. Bad stress is called distress, but we won't go into detail. But too much stress is not that healthy. So just do your best, because in the end, failure in school is not failure in life, period. Like seriously, come on. Like we all heard of those examples, like Steve Jobs, Bill Gates,
Albert Einstein.
And so many people. They all did like quite bad in school, right? But in the end, what would make you successful in life is if you have these things where I call like the triad of success. It's heart, head, and hand, right? Like heart, that's in that book. If you don't mind, Susie, could you please pick up that black book with the red black brain cover? I'll show it to the audience. The lower one, please. Thank you, that one. Where the audience can't read Thai anyway, but I'm just gonna thank you. I'm just gonna show them. This is what will make you successful, Arya. These three things. Huh? Not sure you can see that. Heart, head, and hand. Right? So I dream, idea, and I do. This means that you have a dream and you go chase that dream. And heart also means you have courage, right? And then you have idea is head, and you constantly seek new knowledge, new techniques, new strategies, new people, new connections. And hand is you have discipline. You don't procrastinate. You don't become lazy. You keep doing it. Keep taking action. That will make you successful. Not necessarily freaking high grades, although that will help. So,
thank you for answering that question, okay?
So,
just two more, okay? One is Jessica Telezo. How can I control my anxiety?
okay. So anxiety is just another name of stress. There's related anxiety, fear, stress, same family, right? Different members of the same family. So I would say first thing is learn how to meditate. Learn how to still your mind. And you don't have to just sit and meditate. People would I got so bored when I do that. Like 10 minutes I'm gonna fall asleep. So but if that's your thing, if Jessica tries it out and she likes it, that's fine, right? But do try meditate. Like do use try this application. I have no, it's not that app is not my sponsor, so I'm recommending this genuinely from the heart. It's called Calm, CALM. Good application. I use that. That would help. That would be a guided meditation, good music, good brainwave. Oh, nice stuff. So try that out. 10 minutes, 15 minutes help tremendously with anxiety. Second, try yoga. Right? If you think like sitting around still is like boring, yoga is movement meditation. That's what yoga is. We talk about Sadhguru, right? He's a yoga master, yoga master of the world. Yoga, again, I'm crazy about words and root words. Yoga actually comes from the word yoke, and yoke means union. It means union. It means union between your breath, your body, and everything around you, or you can call it the universe, right? So it's like, and then you focus, and then you release. Oh, it will help so much with anxiety because you will learn to breathe. People experience anxiety because they don't breathe properly. We don't breathe properly. What does like breathing properly means? It means deep, long breath. Deep, long breath. People with anxiety breathe like this. They don't even know it, right? Which is okay. I used to have like anxiety sometimes when I do something. It's okay, but awareness, realize that, and learn to take deep breath, and also there's this thing called sympathetic nervous system and parasympathetic nervous system. Yeah, parasympathetic nervous system is when your body is relaxed, and that will only be activated when you take deep breath. If you take like shallow breath and you don't breathe properly, then it will be like sympathetic nervous system, and it will be like fight or flight mode all the time. You'll be like, what should I do and all that. But when then the body will be activated. Your pupil will dilated. Your muscle will relax. Your heart, that will help a lot. And then of course the last thing is learn to maybe, I use like sword, actually, like my samurai sword and bow is also like meditation, so it's called active meditation. So learn something like that, like horse riding or I don't know, like surfing,
something that requires your full focus.
Exactly. And then you will learn to focus your mind so that when anxiety or panic attacks, you're like whoop, and then you're able to go into that zone that Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi, that psychologist, he called flow, that zone of flow, right? Look up that word. It's a beautiful word. It's a concept in psychology called flow. Like you have to access that stage of like, right? And that pretty much will help a lot already. But if it doesn't, then when is that is only the body part. But then that's also the mental part, and I'll go like into not too much into detail because it's a long thing. But once your body is relaxed, you also have to fix something mentally. Anxiety comes from fear. Anxiety is that tree which grows in the soil of fear. It cannot exist without fear. You're anxious about something because you're fearful of something, right? You're like fearful of tomorrow, fearful of not being able to be your best or whatever. Is fear. So to overcome fear, first you have to learn that fear is an illusion, right? You have to learn that fear is a fog. It's a fog, right?
Because it's a worry about something that's not here yet.
Exactly. Is, as I said, false evidence appearing real, right? That's what fear stands for. It's wrong. It's like this fog is covering the street or the road or wherever. You can't see anything. But once you walk into that fog, you realize that this is nothing. This can't hurt me. I call this the fist of fear. As I said, like fear is like a fist, right? You have this fist, and once you realize that this fist has 5 fingers, right? These are all illusions, right? It's holding emptiness. is holding something which doesn't exist. Okay, what you need to realize is we're okay. Should we have a sip of water? Should we?
Yeah.
Okay.
We're almost done.
Okay, no, something happened, but we won't mention to the audience what is happening. Oh man, is she okay?
Technical difficulties.
Okay.
We're almost
Okay,
done
man.
here.
No. I hope she's okay.
Yeah.
Okay, man. Okay.
The last question, okay? The last question, okay, is from a good friend of mine, actually. His name is Cams1234. His question says, "What is your opinion on prescribed medical marijuana?"
Okay. Okay, just before that, to conclude on fear, it's an illusion. So if you think like, oh, I can't do it, I'm gonna die, this is not gonna work, you pull out each fear one by one, then you realize that the fist of fear holds nothing but emptiness. It's just something that comes up. Like that movie said, danger is real. It is real danger, but fear is not. Fear is your mind thing, right? All right. What is my thoughts on marijuana?
Prescribed medical
marijuana. Okay. Everything in this world is a tool. Everything. This book is a tool. It's a tool for me to learn about life, learn about something. This chair is a tool. This clothes, prescribed marijuana is a tool as well. So I would say, with a tool, one needs to know first its benefit, and then its downside, and also one needs to be aware of how to use it properly, right? Now, marijuana, from what I've heard, there are benefits of marijuana. Now, if we can control the marijuana and use only the benefits of it, I would say it's okay. I would say that. But of course, I have compared to, because I'm not I don't live in the United States, although I'm moving there soon, but I don't live in the United States now, and in Thailand, prescribed marijuana is non-existent, so I have very little knowledge about it, but I do know that there are some benefits. So I would say if we control it properly, like we control any tool, right, then go ahead. Because, okay, a knife, right, a bloody knife, is dangerous. I can kill someone. But we don't ban a knife, because a knife is very useful. A knife can use to cut potatoes and vegetables and meat and all that stuff. So we learn how to use a knife. We keep it away from children. We become aware when we use a knife, and that's how we use a knife to our advantage and not to hurt, right? Same thing with prescribed marijuana, whatever. If it is useful, then try to find how to use it to help people, and keep it away from, this is like analogy, like the knife. Keep it away from children, from people who are not have that
that are not going to be ready.
Knowledge, are not ready for it, and from crazy people and all that stuff. But I would say approach it like you would approach any tool, with wisdom, with awareness, with knowledge.
Thanks, Kay. And Kay, I know this interview lasted a while, but I so much appreciate you and inviting me inside your home. And I did want to give you a gift that I had here for you that I did bring.
Oh, nice, man.
I told you I have brought you one. And, I just wanted to show you some gratitude, and I appreciate you for even letting me inside here. You're most
welcome, bro. Of course, man. Of course. Of course. Thank you. Thank you so much. It's a beautiful, beautiful thing. All right. Nice.
See you guys.
All right. See ya. Thanks, everyone. Good interview. Fun. Love it.